Senate vote on Tulsi Gabbard DNA confirmation reportedly to take place in SCIF. So that is an acronym for, wait for it, Kirk. So this comes from Charlie Kirk, claiming that the vote might be conducted in a privately in a SCIF security facility used for processing highly classified information. He argued that withholding vote tallies from American people would be a violation of transparency, urging citizens to have the right to know how their senators vote on key nominations. Potential move towards secrecy has sparked concern among critics who fear it may undermine the integrity of the voting process. Gabbard, a former U.S. representative from Hawaii and current lieutenant colonel of the U.S. Army Reserves, face significant opposition. Yes, weird stuff. So I'm going to show you the betting markets real quick. And she's by far the biggest liability right now. So RFK is like 80%, and Tulsi's all the way down at, what is it? See, so Tulsi's all the way down at 55%, RFK 76, Kash Patel 92. I thought that was going to be a tough one. Then the rest of them are pretty much a shoo-in. So why all this weirdness around Tulsi? And why don't they even want to let us know who's doing it? So I go on ChatGPT and I type in which senators have criticized Tulsi Gabbard in the past. Susan Collins, of course. First of all, we got primary the shit out of her when her term comes up, because like she's been like, she might as well not even call herself a Republican. She has voiced concerns about Gabbard's shifting stance on a crucial surveillance program, stating, quote, I know there's been a lot of reporting that she's changed her position. That's not how I read her answers. Senator James Lankford from Oklahoma, during a meeting with Gabbard, Lankford noted that she appeared unclear about the responsibilities of the DNI role, raising doubts about her preparedness. Senator Todd Young, Indiana. Young is viewed as a potential swing vote on the Senate Intelligence Committee and has expressed reservations about Gabbard's nomination. Then, of course, you have Lindsey Graham, who's talked shit about what she did with Syria, which is crazy, by the way, because like Syria is the stupidest thing. I mean, just like Saddam Hussein, it's like not ideal to have a hostile dictator running a country, but are you going to argue that we're in a better position now that a terrorist leader is running the country instead of a hostile dictator that's been there for 20 years? Like, the only reason we wanted to take out Assad is because they wanted to create instability and create a reason to justify invading Syria. Shit's crazy. So let's see. What did I want to go to next? Oh, John Brennan, of all people, is trying to be the voice of reason here. So listen to what John Brennan was saying about Tulsi Gabbard the other day. Like, this should be like the biggest ringing endorsement of Tulsi Gabbard. This guy's
when there are National Security Council meetings that the president chairs in the White House Situation Room, usually the first person to speak would be the Director of National Intelligence and the Director of CIA. They lay down the intelligence basis for any type of policy discussion that ensues. And so if that intelligence basis, that briefing, is going to be skewed or is going to be lacking some very important critical information, the policy decision that ultimately comes out of it is also going to be baseless, and also, it's going to be potentially threatening to our national security. So again, it's the president's daily brief, but also the role that the Director of National Intelligence, Director of CIA play in order to ensure that the people who have to make those decisions in the National Security Council are fully informed about what the reality is, what the intelligence is, what our intelligence gaps are, and if they withhold things or if they skew things, it really is going to be detrimental to
Real quick before we let you go, Director, do those agency heads have, in that moment you're describing in that room, have that realization that, wait a minute, that's not what we told you? I mean, in other words, how does that coordination become undone when the person who's putting the final brief is skewed the information?
Well, I like to think that, Secretary of State Rubio, who is very familiar with the intelligence profession, is going to be speaking up, because you have the Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, the Attorney General, others who are going to be there. So you want to make sure, again, that you have people who are informed, but also people who want to know the truth.
Right.
And not just people who want to give President Trump what he wants to hear. That is so dangerous. And none of the 6 presidents that I work for ever wanted the intelligence community to give them what they wanted. They wanted the intelligence community to give them what they needed, and then they can make the appropriate policy
condescending
decisions,
prick,
taking into account what the intelligence says.
What a condescending prick. Like, of all people, like, you think that she's gonna be able to just tell him what he wants to hear? Like, she hasn't agreed with him for most of her career. Like, she's one of few people who switched political parties because of how, I guess you'd say unbiased that she is. Like, I put in the poll, is there anybody that's more deep state than John Brennan? That like anybody that he's against, like, I'm almost automatically on that person's side, because like this guy, pure evil when you look at him. And you know what I want to see a lot more of? Like what I saw from Nicole Shanahan yesterday. So she comes out, gives this savage, threatening message about anybody who dares to vote against RFK. Like, and we need somebody like this to come out and fit in Tulsi's corner.
Hey everyone, tomorrow is a pivotal moment in our nation's history. At 10 a.m. Eastern Time, RFK will sit in front of the Senate Finance Committee for his confirmation hearing to be our nation's next Secretary of Health and Human Services. I urge everyone to call their U.S. senators over the following days and demand they vote yes on Bobby's nomination. He is more than qualified. He's proven, principled, and prepared to lead. I'll share a list below of key senators. If they represent your state, they need to hear from you. If they don't, please call your own senator and ask them to vote yes. We need as many votes as we can get. So this hasn't been widely reported, but in 2020, I cut large checks to Chuck Schumer to help Democrats flip 2 Senate seats in Georgia from red to blue. The 2 candidates I helped elect, Senator Raphael Warnock and Senator John Ossoff. Please know I will be watching your votes very closely. I will make it my personal mission that you lose your seats in the Senate if you vote against the future health of America's children. And more than that, I also want to say to Senators Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, Bill Cassidy, Tom Tillis, James Lankford, Cory Booker, John Fetterman, Bernie Sanders, and Catherine Cortez Masto, this is a bipartisan message, and it comes directly from me. While Bobby may be willing to play nice, I won't. If you vote against him, I will personally fund challengers to primary you in your next election, and I will enlist hundreds of thousands to join me. Big Pharma and Big Ag have exploited us for far too long. It ends now. You're either on the side of transparency and accountability, or you are standing in the way. The choice is yours. Please choose wisely.
Freaking hot. Billionaire. Threatening. Smart. On the right side of things. Way to go. I didn't know anything. I didn't know the first thing about this lady before she was RFK's VP candidate, but we need like dozens of people coming out and saying stuff like this. Like I think the vast majority of reasonable American-loving people want Tulsi to get this position. And I've heard people say like, "Oh, it's not the end of the world if she doesn't get it. Like, we can't expect to get everybody." Like, no, I'm still pissed off that Matt Gaetz dropped out. Like, we need the most savage people possible right now. Like, we get 4 years of a window to dismantle the deep state as much as we possibly can. We can't get some moderate in here. Like, even somebody like John Ratcliffe. Like, the fact that there was such little pushback to him, don't love the guy. Anybody that there's not a ton of pushback to, I'm not all that excited about. Like, I want people in every one of these positions that scares the shit out of the establishment people. All right, so I don't know. I didn't hear about this secret voting thing until today. That better not happen. Like, we always forget that we're the ones who are the boss of these people. It takes an average of 80 phone calls to get a senator to change their mind. So literally the amount of people on the stream, this amount of people called their senators and said, "Listen, I swear to God, if you guys so much as dare to vote in secrecy on this thing, it will make it my life's mission to vote you out of office." Like, if 100 people did that to each senator, they wouldn't even think twice about doing this. If you enjoyed the short clip, click right here to watch the full episode, and remember to subscribe to the channel. God bless.